If you're thinking about switching to a smaller diameter steering wheel on your C3 Corvette, there's something you should know about before you do, or at least something that you should consider that I didn't think of, and it shows up here. So stick with me, I'll show you what it is. You're watching On the Mark with Mark. This smaller diameter steering wheel I really do like. It's also fatter than the original one. Here's a picture of what the original steering wheel looked like. Now, the thing about it is, it's not only a larger diameter, it's skinnier around. And when they design a dash for a car, what they do is, they lay out with a drawing, and they have the steering wheel drawn in over what you're going to be able to see. And they work it out so that none of the controls or lights or anything are behind the steering wheel. So that's what they did, of course, with the 73 Corvette. Well, I kind of wasn't thinking about that when I bought this steering wheel. Actually, this is the second small steering wheel I had. The first one I had was a 4-spoke, and then I switched to this 3-spoke. This one's also deeper dished, so my hand didn't hit the turn signal when I would turn. But the thing is with this being smaller, here's a good picture of it, what happens is it covers up part of the speedometer and part of the tachometer. And the part it covers up, if I just, if I sit in, standard driving position, it covers up from about 40 miles per hour up to about 90 miles per hour, which is kind of the sweet spot where you drive a lot. That's what I can't see. And on this side, it's covering up 3,500 down to about 5,500 RPMs, which is also kind of the premium spot to where I want to watch my tachometer and see what's going on. So if I want to check my speed, I'm like this, and if I'm shifting gears, then I'm a little bit over here watching the tachometer. So, that's the way it is. I'm going to live with it. But if you haven't done it yet, just know that that's the circumstance that you're going to be left with afterwards. Now, I considered even switching these two gauges because American cars have the tachometer on the right and the speedometer on the left, but all my other cars have them the opposite way. So I would be fine with that. But the turn signal is built in to the speedometer and the tachometer, and of course it's an arrow pointing this way and an arrow pointing that way. And while I could keep the bulbs in the same place and have it flash, I don't like the idea that the arrows would be pointing right towards each other. That just seems hokey. If I could figure out a way to get the arrows to point out, I would probably have changed those. So that's what you need to be concerned about. Now, one of the reasons I changed this steering wheel out from my original one, here, take a look at this picture right here. Somehow, my theory is that water got in where the spoke penetrates the vinyl and got into, there's a metal ring inside of that vinyl steering wheel. And I believe that metal ring is rotting or has somehow made some kind of a chemical reaction with the vinyl, and it just spews this brown, it's a rust colored goop, comes out in all three locations where the spokes of that steering wheel penetrate the vinyl. So I don't know, this one might do it too, but this one's wrapped in leather, so I don't know what's inside of there. I assume it's probably got a plastic core. But anyway, no matter how I cleaned that off, if the car sat in the sun, and it may have something to do with convertibles, so leave it in the comments. If you've got a convertible and your steering wheel is doing that same thing, maybe we can take a small poll here and see if you have that problem. Is your car convertible? And if you don't have that problem, maybe it's a T-roof. I kind of do think it has something to do with the car sitting out in the sun, because I thought I could clean it up and it would be fine. But I cleaned it really carefully. I used 409, I used alcohol, thinner, and I could get it clean and it would be okay for a little while, but then, I mean, just a couple of drives later, and I think it has something to do with it being out in the sun and heating up. It kind of sort of boils it out of the steering wheel. So then I'm driving, and then pretty soon, I mean, it was sticky crap. It was bad, you know. So of course, you know, the steering wheel's hanging on the wall. I can't, with a clear conscience, sell it to anybody, but it makes good garage art, so I do have that. So that's the other thing. That's the reason why I switched steering wheels. And I've always liked the small diameter steering wheels, although there's something nostalgic about those bigger ones. And of course, they remanufacture those. I could get one if I wanted to, but isn't this a neat looking steering wheel? And it's got the little finger nubs on the back side too, so I can really hang on to it. The other factor is this is a power steering car. If you didn't have power steering, I think you probably really need that larger diameter steering wheel rather than something small like this. In fact, this steering wheel is even smaller. I know that the steering wheel changed size in maybe 77, 78, somewhere around there. It became leather at that time. And it seems like those are smaller, but not as small as this one. But like I said, this is my second one, and the first one I had was the same size. And the power steering was strong enough that it was unnoticeable, you know, difference in the pull that I had. So that's the thing. So if you're going to change your steering wheel, just know what you're in for. Okay? Thanks for watching. And if you liked this video, nice and short, think about subscribing and liking this video. Thank you. Good, good, good.